Hello, and a really warm welcome to our live Q&A for postgraduate students today. I'm Kyle, I'm from External Relations at the University of Glasgow, and I'm really delighted to welcome you all to our live session today. I know that we've got people tuning in from right across the globe, and it's great that you're able to join us for what will hopefully be a really informative session for you today. We're going to be live for around the next hour, so we're hoping to get through as many of your questions as we possibly can. We've also got a team in the back end answering your questions in the comments as they come through too. But firstly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give us a chance to introduce our amazing panel to you today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. We'll start with Chandra and we'll move to Jess. And Favour's just popped back as well, so we'll go Chandra, Jess, and then Favour as well.
Hi, I'm Chandra. I'm studying my Masters in Management at the Adam Smith Business School, and I'm from India. Hi, everyone.
Hello, everyone. My name's Jess Henderson. I'm a careers manager, so I'm based in the university's main careers service, but have a specific remit for students in our College of Science and Engineering. Lovely to be here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Favour. I'm from Nigeria, currently studying a master's program in international commercial law. I'm so delighted to be here. Thank you.
Amazing. Well, hopefully we've got a good mix. We've got our students and we've got Jess and I here as well to get as many of your questions answered. On the live today, we have a proper mix of people. So we've got people who already hold an offer to study with us at the university, and there are a few others who are just thinking about whether to join and what the process is to apply. So just to start off with, I thought I'd quickly run through just how easy it is to submit an application to us for postgraduate study at the University of Glasgow. And the answer is that it's an incredibly easy application process that we have. All of our master's courses have their own programme page on our website. And from there, you can find out more about the course, about the fees and funding, and that includes any scholarships that we might have available. But it's also importantly there that you can apply to your programmes as well. Right at the bottom of the page, there is a big box on all of our master's programme pages that says apply now. And it's there that you can go in, submit your application, fill in your details and upload all of your relevant documents. For those of you who are looking at PhD study or you're looking at our research programmes, our programme pages are still the best place to look, but you should be identifying a potential supervisor before you hit that big apply button. So we have a search function on our website that lets you filter our staff by research interest and by school. Reach out to the staff that best align with your research interests if you are looking at a PhD. And after you've got an academic championing your application, then you can go on and apply. So no matter how you're looking to apply to us, for those students that are joining us today who haven't yet submitted an application but are maybe considering doing so, the answer is our website holds the key. Online is the answer, and just jump onto the university website, and from there you'll get all the information that you need, and it's from there that you can submit your application as well. For those of you who do have offers to study with us, and there are a lot of you on today, we're getting a lot of questions about accommodation, so I thought I'd cover that relatively early into the webinar as well. If you are looking to apply to university accommodation, it is important to note that you can apply with a conditional or an unconditional offer. Applications are now live. So our advice as the university is to get your application in as early as you possibly can. So if you're holding an offer and you've accepted it, get your accommodation application in as soon as you possibly can. The deadline to get your accommodation application to us is the end of July. That will quickly roll round, so make sure that you get your application to us. And even if you're considering applying for private accommodation, it's often worthwhile just applying to university accommodation to make sure that you have all of your ducks in a row ready for joining and making sure that you do have somewhere to stay. It is important to secure your accommodation before you make any future plans in terms of your study or next steps for joining the university. Just make sure you have accommodation sorted out. And it is worth noting that unfortunately we can't guarantee accommodation to all postgraduate students, but we are obviously going to try our absolute best. So make sure you get that accommodation application in as soon as you possibly can, once you've accepted a conditional or an unconditional offer. In saying that, I'm now going to turn to our excellent panel, and I'm going to I'll turn to Chandra first. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how accommodation was for you, Chandra? Was finding accommodation okay? Where are you staying? Are you in university or private accommodation?
When I started out finding my accommodation, I actually was slightly late in the application process. But I did receive an offer of accommodation from the university around June, if I'm not wrong. But I couldn't meet the deadline for certain reasons. And then I started looking out for accommodations online. I got in touch with agents and some private accommodation providers. And I secured one called Dobby's Point, which is by Student Roost. It's the good part is it's located right in the heart of the city. It's like a 3-minute walk from Buchanan bus station. So yeah, I think finding accommodation was slightly challenging, but then eventually it wasn't as much because there are a number of housing options and private student halls apart from university residences. So I think it was good.
Fab. Favour, does that mirror your kind of experience with finding accommodation as well?
Yes, pretty much. It was similar experience as well. Although I started out searching out for accommodation much earlier because I'd gotten my admission quite earlier the year before. So getting an accommodation wasn't too difficult. I got an accommodation offer as well from the university, but I also decided I was going to stay in a private student accommodation. So I currently stay in a student accommodation that is managed by a private housing provider, and that is also close to the city center, interestingly as well, and is managed by Student Roost. So it wasn't pretty much difficult. It wasn't so difficult getting accommodation.
Fab. And along the bottom of your screen today, you'll see that there's a ticker tape going along with some of the really helpful web links that we have here at the university. So our Students' Representative Council, they put together a really useful guide on finding accommodation. So if you're looking for help, our SRC and the ticker tape at the bottom there is going to be running with all the useful links that we have for you on the webinar today. I'm going to turn back to Favour and Chandra though. You're both international students. Favour, you're from Nigeria. Chandra, you're from India. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what it was like to move to Scotland and your process of getting here and getting settled in? Has it been nice and smooth? And I'll start with Favour this time if you want.
Okay. Really, to be honest, it can be quite daunting, getting up from where you're known to, where you're familiar culture, and moving on to a brand new continent for me, moving on to a new city. It was also my first time in both the UK, in Scotland, and in Glasgow as well. But to be honest, it wasn't so difficult settling in because, like they say, people do make Glasgow. Glasgow is such a friendly city. It's warm. The people are warm. I got lots of support from the university. They always send in mails. They send in lots of support to ensure that, when you're settling in, it's easy to get all that you need. They help you with resources that are needed and needful. So settling in that sense wasn't too difficult. My accommodation was already sorted out as well. So it was just moving to the accommodation and trying to, navigate my way to school. And then the school also put together lots of induction activities. There were social events as well that helped with networking when I first started. So it wasn't too difficult completely settling in. It could be quite daunting and intimidating at first, even for a city that is as friendly as Glasgow. But nonetheless, just take your time, and whenever you do start and you're able to fully settle in, you then settle in. So that's it.
Fab. And Chandra, is that very similar to yourself? Moving from India, it's a pretty big leap to jump over to Glasgow. Was it pretty smooth for yourself as well?
It was smooth, but like Favour said, it was daunting. Overwhelming, I'd say, because honestly, I've never lived alone before this, and this is my first time living out of home. So eventually everything worked out and I fell in love with the city. The university is beautiful. I mean, Scotland in general is a beautiful place. So, and the people, like Favour said, people do make Glasgow. I think Glaswegians are the best bunch of people in the world. I mean, they're so accommodating, and I had a fantastic experience since day one. And now I just want to make the most of my time here. So
I think both of you have said people make Glasgow, and I think Jess and I are both relatively biased in saying that Glasgow is an exceptional place to be a student and to live and to come and study. Has that stayed true? Has it been easy to make friends for both of you in Glasgow? Where have your social structures come from since you moved here? We'll go back to Chandra first this time.
Honestly, I think the first best place to make friends is probably from your course, and then I started making friends in the accommodation. But there are so many clubs and societies that I joined, and I just go and chat with random strangers in the university, in the city center, when I'd probably be walking. And eventually I made so many friends and so many connections that I've stuck on, honestly, because honestly, since I've never lived away from home, I think I found a new home here, honestly. So I think it was pretty easy to make friends. And the fact that it's such a diverse and inclusive city, that you end up making friends from all over the world and you get to experience different cultures. So I think it was great that way.
Yeah, we hear that a fair bit because there's lots of different nationalities living in Glasgow, not just at the university. And I think that is something that we pride ourselves on in Glasgow, and we say that people make Glasgow. You're not just meeting Scottish people when you're in Glasgow, be it in the university or be it in the wider city centre or elsewhere in the city. But Chandra, where have you found your social structure, your friends, the people that you've met since you've been here? Has it been in halls? Has it been in societies? Or
I did make a number of friends in my accommodation, because the area is mostly consists of a number of student accommodations. So you end up meeting friends, and you have friends of friends coming over and stuff. But also at uni, through clubs and societies mostly.
Okay. Favour, does that mirror yourself?
Yes, I completely agree with the reflections of Chandra on as regards, meeting people. Firstly, primarily, you're going to meet lots of people on your course program. You'll meet lots of diverse students as well, people from different backgrounds. So your course program is certainly one of the best avenues. And then clubs and societies as well, joining organizations. From Africa, so it was easy for me to, get settled in African and Caribbean societies. There are also volunteering groups, and when you start working, if you do intend to work, so you would also get to meet people, in the course of your work, in the course of the opportunities and events that take place at the university. And given time, just time will tell, and then you'll be able to get settled in and make lots of friends as well.
Great. We've got, so it's worth highlighting that we've already mentioned that Glasgow's incredibly international, but the university itself has students from around 140 different countries represented, and you can really tell that wandering around our campus. You'll hear different languages and you'll hear different accents, and you'll meet people where you live from around the world as well. But just to highlight that we do have a dedicated international student support team here at the university, and they're there to help you with, help all of our international students with any questions that you have around getting to Glasgow, so visas, CAS numbers, and also what the rules are around working here. Or if you've got dependents and you're wanting to move family, all of this support and all of the help can come from our international student support team. They also do run an international orientation program that can help our international students get sorted out and ready and understand what's happening down the line here at the university for you, so that you're settled in and you're ready to get going when your studies start as well. So have a look at the International Student Support Team's websites if you've got any questions about things like visas, particularly if you're looking to be joining us in the next few months. That's one place that I would absolutely be directing future students to go for a little bit of research and see what the process is for joining us. I'm now going to turn to Jess. I think I've picked on Favour and Chandra. It's Jess's turn now. But do you want to tell us a bit about the career service and the support that's provided throughout your time at Glasgow?
Yeah, of course. So, in the career service, we essentially exist to sort of empower students to develop their careers. So if you're thinking of coming to do postgraduate, that might be with specific career ambitions in mind. And myself and my fellow careers colleagues are all here to support with that. So I'm not going to go through everything that we provide. There's more information on our website. You can see a link to that below in the ticker tape. But broadly speaking, I guess the primary ways we support students are through three main kind of activity areas. Firstly is opportunities for you to meet and network and hear with employers. So that is everything from careers fairs. We do several large-scale careers fairs each year on campus. It also covers things like employer presentations and skills sessions. Some of those are here on campus, some of those are online, networking opportunities, etc. So, for example, this current academic year, we've advertised over 250 employer events so far this academic year. So that kind of gives you an idea of scope. And then we do a lot of other sessions alongside that. Second primary way that we support you is through sort of access to vacancies. So we advertise everything from part-time jobs, internships, volunteering, right through to graduate jobs and opportunities for when you finish your course. Again, in terms of some statistics, this year so far we've advertised nearly 10,000 listings, which accounts for about 30,000 vacancies. Those are in the UK as well as abroad as well. And the third sort of main way we support you is through the provision of careers advice and information. So as I mentioned, I'm a careers manager. I work centrally, but also have specific expertise for my schools and colleges, which in my case is science and engineering. So each of our colleges has a careers manager, somebody like myself, and we basically maintain expertise on all things that are happening in the graduate jobs market. So main trends, what kinds of things, skills employers are looking for, application processes, etc. And with particular specialism in maybe career areas that are most directly related to the courses we look after. And then we share that information out through various means. We provide a lot of webinars. So we do regular webinars throughout term time on sort of core career skills. That covers everything from how you decide about what you want to do after your course, to finding opportunities, applying for things, LinkedIn profiles, thinking about further study, etc., etc. We also have a lot of digital resources, so short kind of digital learning resources that can help you with some of those stuff. Live sessions right through to individual appointments. One thing I will say, a couple of things I will say at this stage is if you are, particularly if you're coming here to think about doing a taught postgraduate course, like a one-year master's, if you're wanting to work after that, whether you're a home student or international student, it's worth being aware that in the UK, a lot of the sort of graduate opportunities with the big blue chip multinational companies, they recruit far in advance. So a lot of those programs will open this summer and autumn for applicants who want to join the company next summer and autumn. So something to be aware of if you are coming for a one-year program. We do have a careers manager who has specific responsibility for working with our postgraduate research students. So again, those of you thinking of doing PhDs, there is dedicated support, and Katrina, my colleague who is that person, works very closely with the doctoral colleges to deliver all of that kind of support specifically for PhD students. And then myself and the other careers managers focus on undergraduate and taught postgraduate students.
Fab. Thank you very much. I'm gonna jump back to you. I think you did touch on this a little bit, but we get a fair few questions around part-time work and what's feasible as part of a degree, and also whether it's possible to work during your studies and what kind of jobs our students do. So Jess, if you want to cover that, and then I think Favour, you have a part-time job, and I'll come back to you to ask you a bit about that as well. But Jess, do you have anything you want to add on part-time work?
Yeah, definitely. So as I mentioned before, we advertise part-time jobs as well in the careers service. So we focus primarily on local opportunities for that, as you would expect. So that's opportunities in and around Glasgow, as well as opportunities across campus. So there's quite a lot of part-time student job opportunities on campus, and we encourage all parts of the university to advertise those through our service as well. So there's one place for students to look. In terms of the type of work, I mean, it varies massively. Common areas for student jobs tend to be often in areas like kind of hospitality, sort of some care work roles, retail, those kinds of things are some of the most common. But we do advertise maybe more sort of professionally related roles as well. One of the other services we run in the career service is the internship hub. So colleagues who run that work with companies to develop opportunities which are exclusive to Glasgow students, and some of those are offered on a part-time basis or during vacations and things like that. I will mention, if I may, at this point, because I know Chandra and Favour both mentioned the sort of clubs and societies. Again, if you're planning to work or hoping to work in the UK in the future, graduate employers in the UK really look for kind of what else you've done alongside your degree. So not only is getting involved in things like clubs and societies a great way to meet people, as Chandra and Favour have said, but it's a really good way to sort of develop and be able to demonstrate skills, transferable skills that lots of employers are looking for. So particularly maybe if you haven't worked previously, getting involved in clubs and societies or working part-time, obviously depending on your personal schedule and if you can fit that in, are really good things to do. But there's lots of opportunities to do, you know, as much or as little as that kind of stuff as fits with your own schedule, really.
Absolutely, and that internship hub is something that's really quite special to Glasgow, and we hear about it from students all the time. So, but yeah, Favour, do you want to tell us you've got a job at the minute? Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, no, on you go. Tell us a bit about it. On you go. Yeah.
Okay. So when I must say that the careers website has been so helpful, just like Jess mentioned, it's so helpful. It's structured in such a way that it's easy to navigate across the entire website. There are lots of student opportunities for both part-time and full-time. So when I got into the university last year, I started out by constantly checking out the careers website, and thereon I got part-time job opportunities that were available. I started out, working hospitality shifts and retail shifts based off of opportunities that I had found on the careers website. And then I moved on to working with the university. So I worked with the university. The university had a campaign at some point with the development and alumni office. So that was also posted on the careers website. And I think one thing I would also say that was really helpful in, getting a part-time job was the fact that I signed up to weekly vacancies. So there's a way you can, adjust the settings of the careers website such that you can get weekly updates and monthly updates on the opportunities that are available. And so I did sign up to that, and I was able to get that opportunity. Was sent to our emails at some point. So I just applied to work with the university during that period, and I did get the job. So yes, I think those are my part-time job experiences, and I currently work as a content creator as well for the university. So apart from opportunities that are available off campus or internship opportunities like Jess mentioned, there are also opportunities to work with the university directly or to work with the Student Representative Council. And even if it's not paid, there are also great ways to build your CV and develop transferable skills, as Jess had rightly said.
Fab. While we're on money and funding and how to go about funding studies, I'm just going to flag, because we get a lot of questions regularly about scholarships. It's a very, very common theme when we hold these webinars. So I thought I'd just flag that we do have a number of scholarships available to master's students here at the university. And I just wanted to highlight that yet again, the best place to find out about them is on our website. There's a scholarship search function online, so just type scholarships into the website and it'll bring up our scholarship database. This will allow you to break down the funding and the scholarships that we have at the university by subject and by region, and also by level. It's worth noting that most of our scholarships are in the form of tuition fee discounts, so we don't have huge numbers of full waiver discounts or scholarships, but most of them are partial tuition fee discount. And most of our master scholarships are offered to students who achieve high grades in their previous study. So it's worth noting that most of them are for students who have achieved a first or equivalent, although we do have some scholarships available to those who don't quite meet that threshold. So get onto the database and you can have a search for what's available in terms of scholarships and funding for your programme or from the region that you are currently based in. We do have some country-specific scholarships, and there are external funding sources as well. So things like Chevening or the Saltire Scholarship or the Great Scholarships. It's worth noting that for 2023 entry, so if you're looking to join in September, most of the external funding deadlines have now passed. So we still are offering scholarships internally in terms of those tuition fee discounts, mainly for highly qualified applicants. But if you're looking at external funding, most of that you'd be looking at entry in 2024. So just to highlight the scholarship situation here at the university, they're out there, but go and do some research and have a look at our database. Now, moving on, we've talked a bit about the support that you get and where your social structures have come from, but I'm just going to turn back to Chandra now and just ask, do you feel supported at the university? Since you've joined here in September last year, do you think it's easy enough to find the support you need if you do need support, if you're looking academically or socially? Chandra, I'll jump over to you.
Sure. I'll give a short personal story. That's something I faced after coming here, is the fact that being an international student in a completely different country with meeting new people every day. I mean, I had major anxiety related issues in November, and it went to an extreme level where I stopped, communicating with people and being the person I am. I wasn't even going out. I'm a very outgoing and social person usually, but then eventually I got in touch with the student well-being support team for the Adam Smith Business School, and I met two lovely people called Mrs. Walker and Andrew. And then what happened was I used to regularly catch up with them, and they helped me get out of the situation very quickly. I think within a week or two, I was back on my feet, enjoying life once again. So I think the support that the university provides is extremely, extremely helpful, because I've personally had to reach out to the support team, and in terms of academic support as well, because there were a number of differences in the system that is followed here than what I studied at home. So there was enough support to get me into academic writing that is standardized in the UK, and then also understand how to go about writing essays and understanding the nuances of the education system here, and how to go about writing academically, critically reflective writing and stuff like that. So there's enough support, I'd say, in terms of both academics and well-being.
Fab. It's worth noting that the student support officers that Chandra's just mentioned, we've got them across all of our schools. So there should be people that you can be signposted to in every single one of our academic departments, and also within the Fraser building. That's our main hub for student support, and it's where Jess is based as well. But that's a really good point of call if ever you need any help throughout your studies too. I'm now going to talk a bit about and ask your opinions on our campus, Favour and Chandra. We kind of pride ourselves on being an ancient university, and we very much have a campus that is ancient. We've got the beautiful quads and the cloisters, but we also got a brand new redevelopment happening on our main campus here in Glasgow as well. So what are your favourite parts of the campus? Is the campus what you expected when you arrived in Glasgow? I'll start with Favour and then I'll come to Chandra. But yeah, Favour, on you go.
Oh, great. I like that you mentioned that the university is sort of like ancient, but it's not really ancient anymore because it's sort of now a mix or a merger of, the old and the new. And I really like that about the University of Glasgow. So initially I thought when I would come, I would see, just ancient buildings and just the ancient landmarks and all those sort of stuff. But what I met when I actually came was a mixture of both, modern buildings and old buildings, and I think that's just what makes the University of Glasgow a really unique place. Walking through the cloisters is always something I really like to do, and walking through the courts, because I get that Hogwarts feeling, because it's like I'm walking through, Hogwarts and I'm feeling like Harry Potter. And sometimes you walk close to the door and then the door just opens and it's like, oh, this is like magic or mysterious, and that's always so exciting to do. I think my favorite place actually on the campus, apart from walking through the quads and the cloisters, would certainly be the James Mackin Smith building. Interestingly, I like the fact that it's really always busy. It's a great place to be if you're looking out to make friends or meet up with people. I also like that it's a mix of modern day classroom, reading facilities, and also a place where you could hang out with friends. I don't know how the university came up with such a fantastic place, but I just like the idea of the entire building. So the building is like a center for all those activities combined in one place, and the fact that it's open to people who are not even students from the university also makes it really likable. So you go there and I just take a cup of coffee at the bar, or just hang out with friends at the place, or study with friends. So I think hanging out at the James Mackin Smith building is also another place I really like to be. And then there's also this beautiful place, people don't really talk about it, but it's like the Ashton Lane, and it's got lots of lots of bars as well. I remember we had an event at the African and Caribbean Society, and we had just hung out there, and at night the lights were lit up, and at winter as well. It's always such a beautiful place to be. And I think, yeah, I really love the fact that the University of Glasgow is a mix of the old and the new, and you get a feel of both worlds literally. So
Yeah, I think you're right. I was going to take bets on how long it took someone to mention Hogwarts, because there is a feel of Hogwarts around our ancient buildings, for sure. But Chandra, do you have a favorite part of campus? Is the campus what you were expecting when you landed here in Glasgow?
I think one of the biggest reasons for me to choose the University of Glasgow was the campus, because I'm a huge Potterhead, and the first time I walked through, Kelvin Grove Park, and then I reached the main building. I mean, I was stunned. I mean, it's majestic. So it's, like you said, it's a blend of both, history and the modern side of the campus that's more developed. But the best part about the main building is, like you mentioned, it's Hogwarts. It's just like Hogwarts. I mean, the first time I went through cloisters and I walked through the courts, I was spellbound. I mean, I had no words to express what my feeling was, and I think it's stuck on till today. So I think my most favorite part of the campus would be the cloisters, especially at night, probably after like 12 or something, because it's completely empty and it's a different experience.
Yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely. It does. It's funny because we are an ancient university, and as you've both mentioned, we've got this brand new redevelopment happening on campus. So Jess and I have probably been working on a building site more or less for the last few years, but we're really seeing the benefits of that now with the James McCune Smith, and we've got the Advanced Research Centre, which is now open. So if there's students that are tuning into the webinar today that are interested in the sciences, we've got a brand new Advanced Research Centre with some amazing lab facilities. Our business school's getting some new space, and there's a new health and wellbeing centre. So there's loads that's happening, and it's a really exciting time to be coming and joining us here, because you're going to be some of the first students to use some of these brand new facilities. Just to note as well, though, we've got our Glasgow campus, and that's where all four of us are based on the panel today. But it's worth pointing out that we do host a number of our master's programmes on our Dumfries campus. Dumfries is about 2 hours south of Glasgow, give or take, but it does have really, really frequent transport links. It is a really beautiful campus, to be fair, and it's in the southwest of Scotland, and it's known for its rural landscape, but it's also a really, really strong community down there. So there will be people on the webinar today who are looking at courses out in our Dumfries campus, and it's just to note that we've got the two different spaces. There will be a number of events for offer holders and for students who've applied to Dumfries, so just keep an eye out for them if you have applied for any programmes on our Dumfries campus. But yeah, just wanted to highlight that Dumfries is a really important part of our campus structure, just slightly further south than we're all based just now. Right, moving on, and we've mentioned this a little bit today, but I just want to kind of deep dive into our clubs and societies a little bit. We've got 300 different societies that you can join across our two students associations here, and postgraduates are able to join just as much as undergraduates. And I'm going to ask all three of our panel if there's any particular clubs or societies that they recommend. I've only just discovered that we have a Taylor Swift society. And Chandra's nodding, so I'm going to move straight to him in case this is his primary society that he's about to recommend. But yeah, Chandra, do you have any clubs or societies that you want to recommend? Maybe it's just the Taylor Swift society. I'll let you.
I'm not part of the Taylor Swift society, but I was quite amused. I mean, as amused as you were to find out that there's a Taylor Swift society. But yeah, since I'm a business student, I'd probably recommend the business club for all business students who are coming, because they hold a number of seminars, simulations and stuff like that. I'm also a part of the Bhakti Yoga Society. So they hold regular meditation sessions every week. And there are excursions and stuff that are also organized by them. Apart from them, there's a rock and roll society, which is good enough, I'd say, because I love rock music, so that's there. Yeah, these are the main societies that I'd probably recommend. But of course, there are a number of other events that are happening at the Queen Margaret Union and the Glasgow University Union. So there are n number of opportunities that you can get in touch. You think of a club or a society, and you have it at the University of Glasgow.
Wow, I'm not sure if I just painted you in the wrong light. You 1 minute, yeah, trying to tell you that you're a Taylor Swift fan and you're actually in the Rock Society. That's I'll Favour. What have you joined? What are your student societies that you'd recommend for people to come and have a look at?
Okay, I didn't know about the Taylor Swift Society. I wish I did before today. Okay, there are a couple of societies. Of course, I'm a law student, so the Glasgow University of Law Student Society is a fantastic place to be. They've got lots of opportunities. If you're a law student or whatever student you are, your faculty would also have an association of students that you could as well join. I also recommend, because I'm an African student, so there's also the African and Caribbean Society. And the beautiful thing about some of the societies is they've got, great discounts that you can get when you join them. So they've got lots of discounts and opportunities that are available for members of those societies. I'm more of a volunteering person, so there are also volunteering organizations that I found through the SRC. So I currently volunteer with the Citywise organization, and it's an organization that caters to, mentoring and helping children maximize their potential. So we work with, remote communities and underprivileged communities, even in the Glasgow area. Yeah. So that's what I do. And if you're someone who is also, looking forward to, giving back to the society or giving back to humanities, you could also check out volunteering organizations on the SRC. I'm actively involved in the SRC activities because I represent my department at the students and staff level as well. So that is another thing that I can also recommend, because the SRC is really supportive of students and student well-being. So you could also check out the SRC websites for opportunities and associations that you would, like to start or like to also be a member of. Yeah, that's it.
Fab. I'm going to turn to Jess now. Are there any student societies that you hear about regularly in your day-to-day work, Jess, or any that you would recommend students to have a look at before they arrive in Glasgow?
So I would definitely recommend students have a look before they arrive, because as has been mentioned, there are so many, and broadly speaking, you can split societies into several different types. So there might be subject related societies, like Chandra mentioned, maybe the business society. There are often sort of nationality or ethnicity related societies that Favour touched upon some of them. Some of them are more cause oriented, and there are various others just general interest, things like Taylor Swift or whatever. So I think maybe think about what you're hoping to get out of joining a club or society. Is your main aim to sort of meet people? Do you want to learn about something new, or learn a new skill or something? And then have a look. There are, as part of the Welcome Week, all the clubs and societies have a day where their members are available for you to go and chat to. So that's a really good thing to do quite early when you arrive, to go and speak to people. Students often, I have to say, end up joining a lot and then finding out they've taken on maybe too much and sort of being active in maybe only a couple, but that's fine as well. I mean, we work with a lot of the societies So, for example, I've worked quite closely with Glasgow University Engineering Society this year to organise some careers-related events. Or lots of the societies do work with employers or do more career-themed things as well. And we as a careers service kind of support them in running those, whether that be sourcing speakers, putting them in touch with employers, etc. So there aren't specific ones I'd necessarily recommend, but my general advice would be to have a look. I'd really encourage you, particularly maybe if meeting new people is the kind of thing that you find daunting, actually doing it through clubs and societies is a really good way of doing it. And you'll find everyone's really friendly and welcoming. And most of the students there will also be there because they're wanting to meet other people as well. So yeah, I'd encourage you to have a look, maybe try out something new and make the most of it, really. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree with that. I think the other thing that I want to touch on that hasn't really been touched on is our sports association. So we have 56 different clubs, I think it's 56, but we've got a good number, and they range from football, rugby, hockey, through to things like korfball and windsurfing. And you can join all sports as a beginner, or if you've been playing or doing a sport for a good while through your undergraduate degrees, or if you've done a master's, you can join at any level, really. And our sports centre, our sports association, is based pretty much on the centre of our campus here in Glasgow, and it's got a 25-metre pool. There's about 3 floors of gyms, lots of pitch room outside on our Garscube campus as well. So there's loads and loads of activities happening on campus, week to week as well. So it's a cool place to come and study. And if you want to finish a lecture and run straight to the gym, you can also do that. I can tell you that I never did that, but I'll push past. What is the city of Glasgow like, Chandra? I'm coming to you as my question's really like in terms of how friendly it is as a student. We're one of 4 universities in Glasgow. So do you feel that it's student friendly? Are there lots of student discounts? Are there lots of places to go in the city? So yeah, I'll turn to you, Chandra.
Yeah, I mean, Glasgow is an extremely student-friendly city because I'm actually working as an ambassador for Uni Days. So whenever I go check out some place, there's always a discount running. So you can just check on Uni Days or Student Beans. So there's always a discount that you'll find, starting from haircuts to food and clothing and stuff like that. Secondly, I think there are so many events in Glasgow. You talk of arts, and Glasgow has it all because I think it's also a UNESCO City of Music, if I'm not wrong. So there are a number of concerts going on. There are big bands coming over. Huge international artists who come and perform in Glasgow. So there's always something to look out for. And the theater scene in Glasgow is also pretty lively. So there's always something happening. And the fact that there are 4 universities in Glasgow, I think it's the number of students that you keep meeting on the streets and everywhere you go is just gives you a huge amount of motivation boost, I'd say, because you end up making friends, and you can always experiment with people about learning new stuff. So I think, yeah, Glasgow is a really student-friendly city. I mean, the number of free stuff I've received here in my initial week when people heard that I'm an international student is crazy. So yeah, I think it's extremely friendly as a city.
And you touch on the fact that we are a UNESCO City of Music, and music really is the lifeblood of Glasgow. I'd say we have, I think at the last count, about 120 different music events happening every week in Glasgow. We've got the Oval Hydro, which is now the 4th busiest arena in the world. So we've got really cool events and gigs happening if music is your thing in Glasgow as well. We're moving to kind of the cost of living. It's on everyone's minds at the minute, I think globally, not just in Glasgow and in Scotland and in the UK. But Favour, did you find Glasgow an expensive place? Have you found it expensive to live here? Or has it met expectations in terms of cost? So yeah, I'll pass over to you.
Okay, I think that there's generally a class or a category of cost for everybody. So there's always like the really expensive things, and if you're just looking out for just affordable things. And so starting off from that category, I would say Glasgow is really an affordable city. Considering that it's one of the major cities in the entire UK, and compared to London, it's really, really affordable in terms of housing, in terms of feeding, in terms of transportation. It's really affordable. And at the same time, if you're looking out for if you are someone who spends really high and you have really high taste and high quality of life that you're looking out for, there are also those sort of things. But generally, I would say Glasgow is really affordable. And like Chandra rightly mentioned, there are lots of students discounts that are available that sort of helps you with your cost of living as well, that helps you manage your cost. So it depends on the kind of lifestyle you have cut out and set out for yourself. But generally, compared to most cities in the UK, Glasgow is one of the few affordable cities. And for someone who has stayed a bit in London, I'm saying certainly that Glasgow is really affordable.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Chandra has nominated himself as the student discount man today. I think he's put himself in the limelight for that. But we're getting very close to the last couple of questions. But I'm just going to ask both Favour and Chandra if there's been anything that's surprised you about moving to Glasgow or to Scotland. You've already mentioned that obviously it was a leap from where you were coming from yourselves, but is there anything that's particularly surprised you about getting here? So I'll start with Chandra this time and then move to Favour.
I think the most surprising thing was the weather, honestly, because coming from the place that I come from, it's really tropical, warm, humid. So there's that. But in Glasgow, you actually experience 4 seasons in one day. So I've experienced it myself, and that's the best part of going to a new place and exploring the entire atmosphere. So I think that's something. And another surprising yet amusing thing would be the Glaswegian accent, which might be slightly difficult to catch in the beginning, but eventually when you start conversing with people a lot, you eventually get used to it, and it's one of the quirkiest accents that I've ever come across. So yeah, those are the two things that I'd say were particularly surprising to me.
Fab, and Favour, the same question to yourself. What's been a surprise for you moving to Glasgow?
Okay, quite a lot actually. Like Chandra rightly said, the weather. I mean, before I moved to Glasgow, I had read that it rains a lot, but I thought, I'm coming from tropical region. It rains everywhere. I mean, it rains everywhere. So what can be so spectacular about the rains? But then I noticed that, in Glasgow, it rains a lot. It literally rains a lot, and the rains here, where I come from in Nigeria, when it's raining, it sort of stops you, and it's prevents you from carrying out the activities of the day. You stay back home because your excuse for the day will be, oh, it's raining today. But that's not the case in Glasgow. It's raining and everyone is outside, and initially I got umbrellas, but then I realized umbrellas won't really cut out for the rain. Just go all out and get your jackets on and just do it and just move under the rain. So the rain has been really surprising. I think the difference in summer and winter was also something that I found really interesting. The fact that during winter it gets dark as early as 3:30 p.m. and then during summer it gets dark at maybe 10 p.m. or thereabouts. So I think that's another thing that I found really, really surprising. And the accents as well, just like Chandra rightly mentioned, Scottish accents is really, really amazing. I must say, it's really amazing, and it's quite different, but it's so amazing. And sometimes it's difficult to also understand, but then with time it gets better as well. And lastly, I would say the food. I think Scottish food is really interesting. A proper Scottish breakfast, for instance, I found that quite interesting because they've got like different forms of bread, different forms of just the way they even serve the meal itself. I think it's also quite interesting, and these are the few changes that I've noticed.
No, fair. We'll take the compliments on the accent. I'll tell you that. We'll push back the what was I going to say? Yeah, we praise ourselves on Glasgow. There's very little that will stop Glasgow just keeping functioning, be it hail, rain, snow. But we're a very walkable city, and I think that the thing to take from this is that don't take an umbrella. I think you need to just make sure you've got a decent jacket if you're coming to Glasgow, and then you can get out and about. So my very, very last question today before we sign off is yet again just to the two students, but it's what's been the best part of being a student at Glasgow. You're slowly coming towards the end. I don't want to remind you of it, but you will be getting towards the end of your masters now. But what's been the best part of your entire experience at Glasgow? And do you have any advice for students? And I'll come to the students, and then I'll ask Jess for her advice as well. But Chandra, do you want to say what the best bit has been, and if you've got any advice?
I think the best part of being a student in Glasgow is the fact that being a student at the University of Glasgow itself is it's the best part of the entire process, because you're starting at one of the most ancient universities in the world. You've got excellent faculty. You've got an array of esteemed alumni. So I think there's a sense of pride, honor, and privilege, I'd say, when you're getting accepted into a university that is at such a grand level as the University of Glasgow. And the fact that there's so much of support academically, professionally, and at a personal level is something that truly sets it apart from, I think, every other university I've known of, because I have friends in many other universities, and the city in general is so friendly, welcoming, warm, vibrant. One advice I'd like to give is, if you're coming for a 1 year's master's program, I honestly feel I envy undergraduate students who are here for 4 years, because they've got so much more to do. But at the same time, if you're here as a postgraduate student, I'd say just make the most out of every day that comes to you. And, there's n number of opportunities and things to experiment and explore. So yeah, that's all from my side.
Great. What about yourself, Favour? What's been your best bit? Any advice for future students coming to join us at Glasgow?
I completely share in the reflections of Chandra. I completely agree. Just being a student of the University of Glasgow is sufficient in itself. It's such a prestigious university. It's one of the Russell Group of universities. The fact that you're studying in a university that is able to mirror both history and modern facilities is really, really amazing and remarkable. I think one of the best things I'd also say is getting to meet people. In the course of this program, I've met lots of people ranging from just students to staff, and I've just also got to see that the fact that they say people make Glasgow is not just a slogan, but it's really the reality. So I've met lots of amazing people, and I think that's really something that I think is worth taking away with me. I think I've made lifelong relationships. I've networked with people. I like that the network of alumni is also really strong, because working at the development and alumni office, I saw that most people who have finished from this university have gone on to do great things. So the university itself gives you a platform to proceed on to great things, and it also gives you a platform to own your talents and skills. I never knew I could communicate this much until, I started working with the university, working closely with the SRC, working closely at the alumni office, working with the content creation team as well. So I think these are things that I would really say I've really enjoyed. And I also enjoyed the learning process. The fact that, when you have questions and you have things that you're not clear on, you can always reach out to the lecturers or reach out to the university. There's a strong support system, and it's not just because I have to say, but there is really a strong support system that helps you all through your academic and even for your non-academic issues. My advice would also be, like Chandra said, there are lots of opportunities in being a student. The fact that it's a 1-year program or 2 years doesn't make you any less disadvantaged. Take advantage of every opportunity that comes your way. Constantly check out the careers website. They've got great opportunities, internship, vacancies are always going up, like Jess rightly mentioned, and just take advantage of every opportunity. Like Nike, just do it, and you never know.
Great. I would completely echo everything that's been said. Jess, do you have any advice for our students that are looking to come and join us on campus in the next year or two?
Oh, I mean, I could sit here for ages, but I won't. I think I really echo what Chandra and Favour have said as well. I suppose with my professional hat on as a careers advisor, I would say, I'd encourage you before you start to think a bit about what your personal objectives for doing your postgraduate are. You might be doing it because you're just interested in learning more about a particular topic. You might be doing it with, career ambitions in mind. Whatever. Think about your own objectives and then sort of try and sort of get organised about how you're going to work towards those objectives during your time here, you know, whether you're here for a 1-year master's, a PhD, etc. And really to echo what Chandra and Favour have said, you know, that there's so many opportunities. I think coming and studying or working at University of Glasgow gives you sort of more opportunity than most of us have at any other point in our lives to meet people from all sorts of different backgrounds, from all over the world, interested in all sorts of different things. So yeah, try and sort of get involved, but also like don't stress. I think there's often a lot of anxiety and stress around sort of careers. Things will work out and there is support available, really. So yeah, think about your objectives, get involved and access the support available.
Amazing. Well, that's great advice to finish on, really. It just leaves me to say a huge thank you to our panel today. Hopefully you've all gained a ton of insight, really, from the webinar today. This webinar is actually part of our online postgraduate offer holders day, which is happening all day. And if you're looking for more information, today's the day to get it, and you can go onto the university website and find out more. And there's other live sessions that are happening throughout today as well. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we hope to see you at Glasgow very, very soon. So thank you to our panel very much for joining in at home today as well. And we will hopefully see you soon. Thank you. Have a good one.